Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, residents of flood-ravaged Makurdi seek government intervention to return to their homes. 17-year-old housewife arrested in Bauchi State for allegedly killing her 2-week-old son. President Muhammadu Buhari receives his old classmates in Daura, while Vice President Yemi Osinbajo hosts Muslim faithful in Abuja. And U.S. President Donald Trump and other world leaders condemn North Korea after it tested what it says is a more advanced nuclear weapon. The victims of the 5-day-long flood disaster in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, are seeking relief from both government and other donors. In an emotional appeal to Channels Television, some of the victims claim they have been rendered homeless and penniless as a result of the flood. Some of the victims who are currently seeking shelter at an IDP camp in Makurdi also called on the federal government to come to their rescue by building standard drainages. 5 days ago, this building, including the 2 cars belonging to Lady Katie Jogu, were deeply submerged in flood. Although the flood has receded, its devastating effect has left several properties destroyed.
I didn't have a place to sleep. We virtually slept outside one house out there, me and my family. But a good Samaritan saw me the following day and he was able to give me one room in a place. That's where I am pitching now. And I'm trying to pick up my pieces. I'm confused. I don't know whether to come back to this house now that the water has receded. I don't know what the forecast will be.
Many of the residents in Makurdi are now displaced as a result of the flood. They now seek shelter at the Makurdi International Market IDP camp. They're desperately seeking intervention to enable them return home.
We are totally inside the water. The house is down, everything is down, we are down, we need help from the government. We have major challenges of the drainage that the government is supposed to come to our aid.
Relief groups and the Nigerian Air Force have been on ground trying to provide medical and other humanitarian support to the disaster victims.
We have come to stay and assist the government of Benue State to provide some little bit of services.
The Benue State's governor has been relentless in the cry for federal government's ecological assistance.
There must be some level of control henceforth on how to do it. And of course, this is a massive project that will require the support and assistance of the federal government ecological unit.
The Benue State Emergency Management Agency claims to have supplied foodstuff to the relief camps. But with a huge number of flood victims at the camp, food supply is still inadequate.
We're asking what is content.
A 17-year-old housewife has been arrested by police in Bauchi State for allegedly murdering her 2-week-old stepson. The suspect, Hindatu Abdullahi, is accused of forcing the baby to drink a locally made insecticide, which resulted in his untimely death. Hindatu, who confessed to the crime before journalists, however, says she regrets her action. A spokesperson for the Bauchi State Police Command, Kamal Abubakari, says the suspects will soon be charged to court.
The said Hindatu Abdullahi collected the child of her co-wife Fatima Abdullahi, named Mohammed Abdullahi, a 2-week-old baby, and went into her room with the baby and put into his mouth an insecticide, popularly known as pia. As a result, the baby became unconscious and was rushed to the hospital. Was rushed to the nearby dispensary at the Gigari village. Later, the baby died on the process of referring to the general hospital same day. The suspect was arrested, and also the remaining quantity of the toxic insecticide was also recovered. Now on the process of scientific examination. Meanwhile, the suspect confessed to the offense, of which he will be charged to court after investigation. All the cases mentioned are under discreet investigation at the state CID, after which the suspect will be charged to court as soon as possible.
Meanwhile, the police in Imo State have confirmed the kidnap and subsequent murder of a Catholic priest. Reverend Father Cyriacus Onunkwo was allegedly snatched from his vehicle in Olu town, Olu local government area on Friday morning by gunmen. The Commissioner for Police in Imo State, Chris Ezike, told our correspondent, Tokwe Kuti, that following a manhunt, a body was discovered in the bush in Omoma village in Olu East local government area on Saturday.
From reports we have gathered, late Reverend Father Cyriacus Onunkwo hails from Osina in Idiaton North local government area of Imo State. And we heard that a few years ago he was ordained at the Olu Catholic Diocese in Olu Town, Olu local government area of Imo State, before he later traveled to Italy to further his studies in theology. And not quite long, he came back to Nigeria and stayed in Lagos precisely. And just a few days ago, precisely on Thursday, he came into Imo State for the burial of his late father who died last Monday. But unfortunately, he was kidnapped on Friday in Olu Town and his body was found dead in Omuma community in Oru East local government area of Imo State on Saturday. However, the Imo State Police Command says they are already investigating to fish out the culprits who might have done this heinous crime. All efforts to get through to the Bishop of Olu Diocese proved abortive. From Olu in Imo State, Tokwe Kuti reporting for Channels Television News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has continued to play host to different groups of people at his hometown in Daura, Katsina State, where he's spending the Eid al-Kabir holidays. The latest group to visit the president is his former classmates in 1953 from middle school in Katsina State. Pictures released from the presidency shows the president and his former classmates in cheerful moments. Staying with the celebrations, Katsina State has held the much-anticipated Durbar Festival, which brings together the royal family, politicians and visitors from all over the world. The festival is held to commemorate the Salah celebration.
A parade of finely attired horse riders making their way into the old government house in the city center of Katsina State. This is the Durbar Cultural Festival to celebrate Salah, also called Hawan Bariki. The festival comes up twice a year and attracts thousands of people from within and outside the country. Historians trace the beginning of the Hawan Bariki Durbar to January 1907, during the reign of the then Emir of Katsina, King Muhammadu Diko. The Durbar is a sight to behold. From the incredible display of rich cultural heritage in the forms of dance, music and horsemanship, to the richly attired emir and his district heads, down to the warriors brandishing old-time weapons. The current regime is working to retain the tradition of organizing this festival, which has now become a tourist attraction.
Well, it has been on for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Lady Deco, Emir of Katsina Deco, came to respect the governor. And since then, each year, every emir has come to.
Although culture takes center stage at the festival, government officials used the opportunity to speak on some of the priority areas which they would be giving attention to in the coming months.
As you heard from His Excellency and also our leader, the Emir of Katana, as they are saying, they are talking about education, and also they are talking about foundation education. So I think it's among the restoration agenda of the present administration. So education is number one. So that is why whenever we come in, we emphasize on the education, and also the education we are talking about the foundation education. That is the education at the foundation level. That is the primary education, the plan of the government, and what have you.
Hundreds of people came to witness this festival, which has become a tourist magnet. But for many residents of the state, the fiesta is also important because it boosts economic activities in the state.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is asking Nigerians to channel their energy and resources towards making the nation a great country as destined by God. At the presidential villa, while hosting Muslim faithful to lunch, on behalf of President Muhammadu Buhari, Professor Osinbajo advised Nigerians to stop dispensing energy on debates over the country's division. He described the agitations and calls for division as noise, which usually precedes the birth of a great nation. The vice president called on Muslims, Christians, and all ethnic groups to make sacrifices to ensure the unity of Nigeria.
The virtues of this festival.
Our energies and resources shouldn't be spent again on debates about division. Our manifest destiny is to be a great nation, not to be a nation where we are talking about division. We must focus our time, our energies, and our resources on being that great nation that God has called us to be. I think the message today for our nation is that our nation's elite, Muslims, Christians, and all ethnicities, must recognize that we also must make sacrifices, the sacrifices that are necessary to attain the destiny that God has purposed for our country. I'm one of those who is extremely confident that our nation will remain united. Because I'm convinced that God's plan and purpose for Nigeria is that we will be the preeminent black nation in the world. This is the nation that will show forth in culture, in technology, in commerce, God's investment in the black race.
In part two, after the break, motorists decry the deplorable state of Enugu-Port Harcourt Highway. Do stay with us.